So we talked about the story of my dad purchasing a sports flooring company, and we talked about the lesson of probably understanding the full scope of your why, how that is so critical, and if you do that, you probably will make better decisions. And the advice that I would give my dad, if I could go back and have a cup of coffee with him, or that I would tell myself in previous situations, and hopefully I'll tell my daughter one day, is to set yourself up for success. And I think one of the key factors in doing that is recognizing your limitations where you are. And oftentimes we want to rise up to where we think we should be instead of rising up to where we actually are in the moment. If my father had probably audited himself and recognized where he needed support in running this company and maybe been in a position to hire people, it could have been a much more effective company. It could have been much more financially viable and could have been much more sustainable. For us, as we go through our day-to-day lives and talking about setting ourselves up to be successful and recognizing our limitations, an easy thing that is translated for me, I've talked about on previous episodes, is I've always struggled with my weight and eating healthy and working out consistently and all of that. And it's been an up and down struggle for my life. And oftentimes, the reason it's been an up and down struggle is because I have pushed too hard and I ended up hurting myself. Nothing serious, but just sidelining me for a couple of weeks or a month. And then I would let myself devolve into negative talking, self-talk, negative thinking, negative behaviors and habits, and then try to dig myself out of that. So, but just before I'm on the cusp of kind of making any progress, then I end up hurting myself and I blame external sources instead of looking at the fact that most of the time when that's happened, it's because I was not recognizing my own limitations. I was trying to reach up for something that I wasn't ready to handle instead of just meeting myself where I was at the moment and considering doing what I can, when I can, with what I can, is success in and of itself for that day. And to measure success that way and not by what I think based off of the cover of Men's Health or whatever. And looking back at my dad's scenario, had he done the audit and had he recognized that, hey, I don't know anything about this industry and I need people who are true professional salespeople who can go in and assess a customer and provide options and overcome objections and do all of that thing. And hey, I need someone who is an accountant or has a true financial mind who can look at our books and understand where money needs to go, I think the business would have been much better off. So for us, again, same thing. Talked about my example of working out. You can look at your example of somewhere at work or somewhere with your family or somewhere personally. But oftentimes we don't recognize our limitations and we don't meet ourselves where we're at. And that is usually because we are embarrassed to admit our shortcomings to ourselves because we think the whole world is going to point and laugh at us and no one cares. So meet yourself where you're at, recognize your limitations, be okay with your limitations because that's an opportunity to improve. I know it might sound cliche, but you think about if you can recognize your limitations and focus on one of them, and in a couple of months, that's no longer a limitation, that's a huge success. So you need to take that as a W and move on. So that is the advice that I would give myself.